We'll see you next time.
We choose to fly Qantas, Australian Airlines. The cast and crew choose to stay at Travelodge all around Australia. When we move the Calais Pickford, the careful movers. This is a Grundy television production for the 9 Network Australia. Sean Cosgrove speaking.
Hello and welcome to Extra as we head into the Easter long weekend. Tonight, chaos at a local council meeting as our camera is ejected. Also, we test the access of the City of Brisbane to our seniors. And our fishing expert Gary Howard takes a different look at the Brisbane River. And he checks out the coast for the best fishing over Easter.
It's only a little bass, but we finally come up with the goods.
First tonight, a council in chaos, an amazing sequel to our reports last week about spending in the Ipswich City Council. You'll recall the first story of Councillor Paul Pisasale.
Both the jobs you have include cars. How do you drive 2 cars at once?
Well, not very easy. It's
Councillor Pisasale has 2 full-time jobs, both paid by the public purse. Ratepayers pay his $100,000 plus package as a full-time councillor, and taxpayers fund the other full-time position as CEO of a job-finding program called UPI. He has 2 cars, 2 mobile phones, 2 expense accounts and 2 secretarial allowances.
I think that they'll judge me on the work I've been able to do for the area. I've never, when I go to a restaurant, if I enjoy the meal, I never question the price. And I think
our second story told how Councillor Rick Glewis asked for details of councillors' expenses and found all the available records were stored in a cardboard box. He was advised if he wanted to get details, he would have to go through the box.
I was seeking detailed expenses incurred by councillors, and I was handed a cardboard box full of files. I think it's an example of the non-accountability of the Ipswich City Council.
Well, it seems that Ipswich City Council didn't approve of our stories, and last night they hit back, banning TV cameras from their regular meeting. Yesterday afternoon, Mayor John Nugent faxed television stations saying that while journalists would still be admitted, the normal practice of allowing cameras would be stopped. Our reporter, Rowan Wen, was unaware of the ban and he went along. Rowan, what happened when you went in?
Well, Rick, we went in shortly after the council session began. When we got inside, Mayor John Nugent actually asked us to leave, and I asked him why. And at that point, all the councillors got up and left the council chambers.
Well, we have some vision of that reception. We'll have a look at it now.
I have ruled that TV cameras aren't allowed in here at this point in time.
Why is that, John?
There's no question your channel along with the other channels.
And freedom of speech.
We're down this afternoon, so will you please remove it?
No, what's happened to freedom of speech and democracy?
Meeting adjourned.
What is the concern of this?
Meeting adjourned.
No, what is it, John? Answer that. It's a simple question. Why aren't they allowed here?
What is the concern with this council? Why is there so much secrecy?
Well, Rowan, were you surprised by that reaction?
I certainly was, Rick. I hadn't anticipated. As I said, we didn't get the facts ahead of time. But I was more shocked when they called the police later on after reconvening the council meeting.
Well, do you think it was tied to the stories that you did with Councillor Pisasale?
Certainly that's the view that a lot of ratepayers have taken. They said that there's problems with accountability in the council, and they pointed particularly to the Pisasale stories that we ran last week. And the comments made by Councillor Pisasale, I might add, tend to indicate that's the truth as well.
Maybe these people are sick of the TV cameras, including Brisbane Extra, and trying to embarrass the city all the time. Now, I tell you what, this is a great city, and if you want to keep embarrassing it, then just keep doing something.
And the people, the public gallery, came to your defence as well.
That's right, Rick. As I understand, they've probably had enough of what's been going on there, and they were certainly calling for accountability and that sort of thing.
Well, it's something that won't go away quickly, I'm sure. We'll keep an eye on it.
No worries, Rick.
And we'll have more on that story in the news at 6. Now to a problem that's confronting more and more couples. When relationships run into trouble, it's often followed by costly legal action. And difficult divorces can leave everyone involved bitter and angry. But in our cover story tonight, Anthony Frangi's found there is another option.
It's no good, Julie. We can't go on like this. You've got to accept that it's over. We've got to start talking about...
Family disputes are often the most stressful times in a person's life. Bitterness, anger and a feeling of helplessness can turn our lives upside down. On 839 4155.
Anthony Frangi reporting there on the cheaper options. Still to come on Extra tonight, we test the streets of Brisbane to see how friendly they are for our seniors. And after the break, we find some accessories that can breathe new life into your old clothes.
Tonight in National 9 News, parents angry after a savage attack on a Brisbane schoolgirl. Uproar in Ipswich as the council bans TV cameras. The fight to save a daycare centre's pet rabbit, and Queensland storms to the top of the Super 12s.
And on a current affair.
Unemployment's through the roof, but local companies can't fill jobs, so now they're importing workers. Plus, Australia goes lawsuit crazy. The defamation and damages cases choking our courts.
National 9 News and a current affair, tonight from 6.
And we'll announce the winner of our Best Suburban Cook tomorrow on Extra. One of the 4 finalists will win a weekend for 2 at the Brisbane Sheraton Hotel. We've had a terrific response to the recipes we've seen this week, and thanks to all our cooks. Well, next up on Extra, where the fish are biting this Easter with our new angling expert, Gary Howard.
Tonight, special guest Willie Khan joins us as we preview the Broncos-Illawarra clash, and hitman Tony Hearn discusses the Crushers' big game. Plus, we look at the hot issue of on-field video evidence with ARL Senior Ref David Manson. The Footy Show, 9:30 tonight on 9.
All righty, we'll have a great weekend. I'll look forward to it.
I'll talk to you next week, Rick.
And there's a full rundown of Gary's tips on the Extra information line at the end of the program, and you can hear him each morning on 4BC. Well, joining me now with a look at what's been happening in news today, Heather Foord.
Hello, Rick. Tonight, a Brisbane school facing legal action. A student's mother claims that her daughter was savagely attacked by classmates. Also tonight, we have reaction on those extraordinary scenes from Ipswich Council. We have claims from Parliament that the redevelopment of Suncorp Stadium has big problems. We'll also check out how the Easter holiday traffic is shaping up, live from the chopper. And we have an incredible story of a Brisbane kindergarten's pet rabbit that officials have put on death row. It's really quite unbelievable. We'll see you soon.
Thanks to Heather Foord. Next up on Extra, we test the streets of beautiful Brisbane for our senior citizens.
Do it.
This Saturday night at 7:30, the Broncos take on the Illawarra Steelers at ANZ Stadium. Call Ticket World now on 131 931.
There's always someone ready to help you.
Yes, well, we are seniors friendly. That just about wraps it up for tonight. If you're going away for Easter, be careful and take it easy. If you want more information on our stories tonight, don't forget the info line, 1800 816 999. And take it easy on the roads. Have a great Easter. We'll see you tomorrow night. Good night.
Our jobless queue grows longer, so why are we importing overseas labour?
We're forced to it because of the lack of availability of skilled tradespeople, and it's going to get worse.
The Australian companies who can't get local workers to take a job.
It's not about a skill shortage, it is about getting cheap labour.
Plus suing first and asking questions later.
They'd tarnish my reputation at the club.
People are becoming perhaps more aware of their rights.
How taking someone else to court is our biggest growth industry.
We've reached a stage now where we've got a claiming and blaming society.
That's next.
8:30 tonight, you will never forget a very special episode of TV's best drama, ER. Then at 9:30, Willie Carter's special guest on The Footy Show.
With Bruce Paige and Heather Foord, this is National 9 News.
Mother sues the government over violence at a Brisbane school.
Scoutmaster jailed for sexually abusing 6 boys.
Ipswich Mayor accused of censorship as he kicks out the TV cameras. Good evening.
Evening.
A mother is suing the Education Department after her daughter was viciously assaulted at school. The teenager was badly hurt when another girl kicked her in the face. Brisbane State High School has suspended her attacker.
The Year 9 student who can't be identified was allegedly attacked by a Year 8 girl 2 weeks ago. The mother said her daughter was knocked to the ground and repeatedly kicked in the chest and head.
My daughter can only remember a boot hitting her in the face, everything going white. Then she can't remember anything else until a teacher was there telling her to put her head between her.
Spencer Jolly, National 9 News.
The Mayor of Ipswich has kicked television cameras out of meetings of the City Council. He's afraid brawling between councillors is making the city look bad, but now its image is even worse.
It's usually the best show in town, an Ipswich Council meeting in all its uncensored glory.
Please, let me finish!
Not last night, Mayor John Nugent decided there'd be no more TV for now and banned television cameras. When Channel 9 arrived, the meeting was adjourned, the Mayor left.
Why aren't they allowed here?
Sparking yet another council brawl.
This is the centre of democracy in Ipswich.
Maybe these people are sick of the TV cameras, including Brisbane Extra, and trying to embarrass the city all the time.
It all comes in the week cameras are at last allowed into State Parliament, and when newspaper journalists, even television reporters are okay, just not their cameras.
I mean, the Berlin Wall come down and was re-erected here in Ipswich Council, as far as I'm concerned.
These people in this council have nothing to hide. They would have no objection to the cameras being there.
A second attempt at a meeting and to see what was going on had police step in.
We're outside now.
And John Nugent denying the ban was undemocratic.
No, I don't believe it's censorship.
But admitting he's embarrassed by the council's behaviour, and that's partly the problem.
It's not a good image.
Councillor Nugent guarantees TV crews will be allowed back in when guidelines are drawn up. He'll also have the right to keep them out whenever he or council decides. Lane Kelcutt, National 9 News.
A plane crash in Croatia has killed a key member of the US government and several American businessmen. In all, 33 people died when the military jet came down in bad weather after a mission to help rebuild war-ravaged Bosnia.
US Commerce Secretary Ron Brown stopped off briefly in Tuzla today with a surprise lunch for American troops. In the United States, Mark Burrows, National 9 News.
A train crash that caused commuter havoc in Brisbane last month has been blamed on one of the drivers. The official report says the driver of a passenger train went through a red signal at Bowen Hills and sideswiped a freight train. Several passengers were injured. Damage amounted to nearly $3 million. Queensland Rail is considering what action to take against the driver.
4 people were taken to hospital this morning after a Brisbane bus collided with a truck at New Farm. The fuel tank on the bus ruptured in the crash and fire officers were called to deal with the leak while the injured were treated. Police are appealing for witnesses. And a 22-year-old man was taken to hospital on the Gold Coast after his 5-metre ski boat crashed on the Broadwater at Southport. Witnesses say he was doing about 110 kilometres an hour when the nose dug in and the boat flipped.
Flip it over. Take a couple of big steps.
No, I bet, Rod.
The driver fared better than the boat. It's a write-off.
Traffic on the highways north and south of Brisbane has been steadily building throughout the afternoon as families set off for the Easter holiday. Chris Wordsworth joins us with a bird's-eye view from the Channel 9 helicopter. How's it look from where you are, Chris?
Well, Bruce, after a promising start this afternoon, it looks like people aren't heeding police advice to stagger their departure times. Traffic on the Bruce and Pacific highways is already extremely heavy, and within a couple of hours, all major arteries around southeast Queensland are going to be choked. They'll stay that way probably until at least lunchtime tomorrow. Now, if you're thinking of putting your foot down to get there a bit quicker, the police are going to get you this year. All available units are out on the roads and they're just waiting to do some paperwork with drivers who decide to do the wrong thing. The police chopper will also be up all weekend, and that will be relaying information to highway patrols on the ground. One final sobering thought. We are now entering the 4 most dangerous days of the entire year. The accident rate is about to jump 60%. So this weekend especially, be patient, be careful, and get home safe.
Thanks, Chris. Looks like you're a lot safer up there than on the roads, and quicker too. Next, a dramatic citizen's arrest in a country town.
And a mining giant eyes Kakadu.
The missing ex-wife of Brisbane brothel keeper Warren Armstrong has been found in Sydney. There were fears for Catherine LaRue's safety after she failed to attend a business meeting on Monday, but she phoned police this morning. A Good Samaritan has made a daring citizen's arrest at Gatton, west of Brisbane. Lex Perkins was on his way to work this morning when he saw an armed man running from a corner store.
3 died and 23 were injured in the bombings, which began in 1978.
To sport now with a friendly bomber. Greg Hall's in more hot water.
Bruce, he's facing a more serious charge over his ride in the slipper, his disastrous appeal coming up, and how not to photograph a bike race.
Coming up, why we're still importing overseas labour despite massive unemployment here.
We forced to it because of the lack of availability of skilled tradespeople.
And slapping on a lawsuit why everybody's doing it.
We've reached a stage now where we've got a claiming and blaming society.
That's next.
Good evening. Queensland has paid a high price for last night's win at Ballymore, losing captain Tim Horan for up to a month. Horan broke his elbow in a tackle in the 10th minute, but stayed on the field for another 35 minutes, setting up a try and scoring one himself in the 36-26 victory.
The Reds were recuperating this morning. 3 matches in the past 10 days have made these new professionals earn their keep. Horan, though, is now on enforced sick leave for 4 to 6 weeks after fracturing his elbow